So our family, we are cat people. My husband and I have had a 22-year-old cat, a 19-year-old cat, and right now we have two 3-year-old brother cats named Tully and Gus. But on April 16th, we are going to be dog people, at least for a week, because we are dog sitting a 2-year-old German Shepherd from a neighbor up the road named Sadie. And we know Sadie, but because I wanted to get ready for this dog sitting and do it well, I decided that I would go on a walk with Sadie and her mom, Jennifer. And really quickly, Jennifer wanted to show me how well behaved Sadie was. So she showed me Sadie's sit and lay down and roll over, which is like a half rollover, but she really does well. And on the walks, Sadie, likes to sniff things like all dogs like to sniff. But Jennifer wants her to heel. And the command for heel means that she really wants Sadie right beside her. She doesn't want her in the front, and she doesn't want her dragging behind or off to the left or to the right. But she doesn't say heel. Jennifer says, with me. And so it's so sweet. We're on the walk, and Sadie will catch, a sniff of something and kind of go off to the left, and Jennifer will say, with me. And, Sadie will come right back beside her. And I love that. I kind of feel like that must be what, God is thinking about with us, that we get ahead of God's plans or we're dragging our feet behind and God says, with me, I want you right here. So, yes. So can you see what this picture is of? Yeah, it's a dog. But if you were far away from this picture, you might not be able to tell what was making up that picture. It's all the words that we think of when we think of dogs. So bark, loving, cute, lick, jump, tail, wag, bow, sleep, snore. And from a distance, you might be able to tell that's the outline of a dog, but you wouldn't really be able to get up and see what the dog was made up of. So in these last number of weeks, we've been really trying to get in close to Jesus. We've been learning about Jesus' teachings, we've been hearing some parables, and during the last number of weeks of Jesus' life, he was surrounded by a lot of people. But a lot of people only saw Jesus from a distance. They didn't really get up close. They weren't right beside Jesus, knowing exactly what was making up his ministry. They were kind of confused about why he was there. They thought that he was going to be their king. They thought he might be a prophet. The king part was what they meant when they said son of David. So some people got really caught up in being around Jesus during that time, but they weren't close in enough to understand what he was really living out. So Jesus during that time was really trying to help explain to them, forgiveness and faithfulness, really what it meant to be right in there beside God, how God would say to them, with me. If you think about our culture nowadays and the speed with which everything happens, if we had to have a rhythm for what Jesus' time would be, it might be something like, but if you had a modern rhythm, what it was like nowadays to be living our lives. So if you can imagine Jesus, walking a track at a high school, we would be lapping Jesus, right? Only catching a word here or there, just a little snippet. We wouldn't be really right beside Jesus, being there to be able to hear what he had to teach us about God. So really during this time of Lent, as we're coming towards Easter, I think it's so important for us to slow down and really get up close to Jesus' ministry and what Jesus was really trying to share with us all about God. Be with me in prayer. Steady God, help us to remember where we are to be, right there with you, not out in front, not lagging behind. Help us to listen for your voice in our lives, guiding us on the path we need to go. Amen.